It's a great day in the 49th District, parts of Washington and Fayette counties, the Mon Valley. I'm State Rep Bud Cook. Welcome to this week's special expanded edition of the Mon Valley Moment, which features highlights from our recent town hall meeting focusing on the future of the Marianna Dam. Before we go to the video, I want to give you a brief update of where this project now stands. First, facing tough questions is a never-ending responsibility for all of our elected officials, and I am happy to respond. However, that same level of transparency must apply to all levels of government. In this case, the members of the Marianna Borough Council who decided that a 109-year-old dam is dilapidated and in imminent danger. As a result, they have voted to enter into a contract with the nationally recognized nonprofit group, American Rivers, whose responsibility is to seek public and private funding to remove the dam. What many of you may not know is that in return for allowing American Rivers to remove the dam, Marianna Borough Council must also enter into a binding conservation easement that greatly restricts the future use of borough property. Like me, many of the folks who attended our May 24th town hall wanted further clarity about this decision and sought the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection's most recent dam safety report, which concludes that while the dam could use some repairs, a dam doomsday scenario is not imminent. Clearly, it would have been much easier for me to sit idly by and not question a local government's decision that passed by a 6-1 vote. However, doing so would have allowed the borough's actions to once again slide under the public radar. As I stated earlier, facing tough questions is a never-ending responsibility for all of our elected officials, myself included. If my decision to shine the light of transparency on issues that may otherwise be left in the dark appear to dam up a local government project, so be it. Now, let's go to the video highlights from our May 24th town hall meeting. This is the first of our 6 town hall meetings that we have planned for 2018. We did 6 last year, 2017. So the difference this year is we're moving them around by school district. I think with everything that's going on, we really need to kind of focus back to our kids where we're at, and this seemed to be a good place. It's also a good way to kind of invite different districts in. We added a twist this year, which I'm really excited about and grateful for, is we have a lot of our services represented here tonight, and you're going to get a chance to hear from them. I want them to come up and tell you what a great job they do, and they do really work hard. We're all employees of you, so that's really important. To date, I just kind of like to do a quick advertisement of what we've been able to accomplish in the first year and 5 months. We started out with the opioids, and you know, that's not what I ran to do, not what I wanted to do, but that was the biggest need when we went around in 2016. It seemed like every 5th person that I talked to out there either had a family member, even a family member, somebody they knew socially, or somebody they worked with. And so it kind of jumped out that had to be our priority. To date, we've done 4 different programs throughout the year, and into this year, we have 2 more. One is going to be addressing it with students, you know, what level do we get in. The one thing that came out of those opioid hearings and discussions were it's about education, education, education. Not everybody is choosing to be an addict. A lot of people are going down that pathway unintended. So the good news is in Washington County, I believe we've at least peaked and turned that corner. And look, it's not things that I did or we did here. It was a team effort. The people up in Washington County do a great job. They have a great program. We had the Catholic Church and other denominations involved in it, nonprofits. Everybody plays a role. And if you haven't heard me say it, I'm going to say it again. There is absolutely very little that we can do in Harrisburg or D.C. to turn this. Has to happen here on the ground in each one of our communities. Quality of life was one of the ones that we opened up early. Initially, it came out Rails to Trails. I regret that to this very day that we called it Rails to Trails. It was overall grouping about quality of life. And the reason that's so very important is we're talking to potential employers and people looking to come into the district now. That is a very important part of their decision. For those of you in Bentleyville, you know the Alta Vista Park up on the top. They did a survey of the people who worked up there, and the majority of those people that work at Alta Vista do not live in the district. They live in Upper St. Clair, they live in Peters Township, those areas, because we simply haven't taken advantage of our quality of life yet. So we're working towards that. The fishing class and parts of that are all part of it. The student initiative, we kicked off in September, the involvement. I think that's the most proud initiative that we've been able to do year to date. One of the first things that we did was stop in and visit with every superintendent in the school district. And my hat's off to all my fellow representatives around the district. Every one of them agreed to kind of work together. We weren't going to limit the kids. And Representative Snyder here in Best Center was a classic example. We share Best Center School District between the districts, and she's actually been part of the Fish in the Classroom video that we did a while back. So the kids just recently came to Harrisburg. We ended up having 10 schools participate, just under 40 students, and I'm telling you, those kids did in 6 months what I could not get done in 3 years. I am so very impressed with our young future leaders here in the school district. So they came out to Harrisburg 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and they got to meet by chance the Speaker of the House. They got acknowledged on the House floor. They got a tour of the Capitol out there, and then we had lunch together. So it was a very, very special time. If nothing else continues on past my term, that is the one thing that I hope everybody will commit to, is keeping those kids involved in the process. Those are our future leaders. Those are our hope. Recently, what we did is at the beginning of the year, we had the Secretary of DCED in town. It snowed so bad they had to cancel their Meet the Cabinet, but we drug him up 43 to California High School, and we introduced our program, Training for the Trades. I'm a firm believer that, you know, it's great to get a college education. I know I value mine, but that is not the only pathway to success. Right now, over in the cracker plant in Beaver, a trained welder is easily making $100,000 a year, and they can't get enough welders. It's projected a couple years from now, we're going to be 80,000 trade jobs short. One of the first people I reached out to was the United Mine Workers of America, and it probably had to be one of my favorite meetings. They kind of looked at me and said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Look, here's the deal. You can't have a union job until we first create jobs. So I'm here to ask you for your help in anything that you can do to help us create jobs." And we replicated that time over again. And we've actually had 3 or 4 unions come on board, so we're very excited about Training for the Trades. Part of that is also bringing shop back into the classroom, home ec back into the classroom. You know, a lot of our young people have lost that. They did the superintendents had the kids back a year after they graduated, and they asked them, "What was the one thing that you wish we would have taught you in high school?" Anybody want to take a guess? How to balance a checkbook. So those very basic life skills we're kind of missing. So excited for Training for the Trades. Recently in February, we introduced dog tags for veterans, dog tag veterans programs. In Washington County alone, there are 17,000 veterans. In Fayette, 13.5, Greene County, 3,000. Now, I'm going to tie these programs back. We reached out to the American Legions and some of our other service groups. They want to get back to their original missions of working with the communities and be, more involved in that part of it. Their other challenge, just like every other nonprofit, is how do I get membership in? When I go to the schools and I talk to students, I have one question that I ask them every time, and we just did this in Ringgold. We had 12 students sitting there, and I said, rapid fire, here you go. Who is your leadership role model? It cannot be an entertainer, and it cannot be an athlete. And in 12 students, one had a role model, and it was their grandparent. So we need to engage this most recent greatest generation, our veterans, and get them involved back in the community, back in their American Legions, and most importantly, back in our schools to serve as role models. Myself, I had World War II veterans as role models, and they're greatly responsible for what you see up here today. So we're excited about the dog tags programs. A lot of it involves outdoor recreation, fish in the classroom. Some of our other projects, we want to integrate them back in so there's a pathway to the schools. 2 more programs I'm looking at this year. And you might notice there's a theme about students and future leaders in that part here. Our county in Washington County is 150% below the national poverty average. We have one school district that they're serving 476 backpacks of food to get through the weekend. And it's not isolated to just one school district, it's every school district. I find that so appalling as a human being, and we will be addressing that. We've already reached out to the Intermediate Unit 1 to kind of talk and come up with ideas. School safety. Before I came here today, I had a meeting with the Intermediate Unit 1 and some people from Penn State and some program directors from York County. They have an excellent preemption program for violence, bullying, things like that. This is a terrible time for young kids and us to grow up. Unfortunately, it's the environment we live in, but I look at not the action, but what was the cause of the action. So we have to explore that and get better prepared in our school districts. So I'm focused on that. I'm also focused and will continue to be on getting those kids involved in outside activities, whether it's hunting, fishing, band, whatever it is. Statistically, those kids are proven to stay away from the opioids, they stay out of trouble. We have to get them more engaged, involved hand to hand. And not last but least, tires and TVs. I always believe that a problem is an opportunity in disguise. And boy, did we discover a problem that we had here in southwestern Pennsylvania. I've never seen so many TVs and tires show up in a 24-hour period in my life. But what it did do is it identified a possible problem, definitely is a problem, but an opportunity and a solution. So we're reaching out to all our partners out there. We intend to do a test pilot in August sometime to collect the TVs. Right now, today, I know one borough that is sitting on 100 TVs that they have stockpiled. They don't know what to do with. I was in Harrisburg when that whole situation occurred, and I'm thinking, I got TVs of my own. I missed the opportunity for 3. So we got to figure out a way to ecologically and smartly do that part. So we're going to stay on top of that one. The special part of tonight is that we have representatives from PennDOT, DEP, Fish and Boat. Did I miss anybody, guys? I think we're good. And I really, really, really appreciate you guys coming out. So I thought what I would do is I'm going to start with Joe, if you could come up. And I hope Joe goes over how big District 12 is that he's in charge of. I'm going to invite the heads up, and then Joe, whoever you want to invite up, feel free.
With me here tonight is Bill Kovach. He's our Assistant District Executive for Construction. He oversees our entire construction program every year. And Harold Weil is our municipal services manager, so some of you folks might have interacted with him before. But my name, again, is Joe Cesar. As district executive for District 12, we cover the whole southwest corner of Pennsylvania. We have the counties of Washington, of course, Greene, Fayette, and Westmoreland. So it's big. And so when you look at all the engineering districts across the state, some of the districts up in the northern tier have more counties, but we have about the 5th largest district. We're responsible for around 3,700 miles, over 3,700 miles of road, 2,350 bridges, 201 municipalities. And so, you know, especially with what we have with regard to the complement that we have about 784, give or take, employees. And, you know, we are also struggling with backfilling our operator positions in our maintenance organization. There's a lot of competition from the trucking industry and Marcella Shell, of course, but it's an ongoing dilemma. And so as we supplement, especially with our winter services, we want to provide 24/7 coverage. And, you know, winter just ended, it seemed like just 3 or 4 weeks ago. All right, we went right from winter to this beautiful weather we're having right now. But it's a constant duty that each one of our employees takes very seriously. We have about 2/3 of our employees are in maintenance organization, and the rest staff what we have. You know, you can take everything that we do as an organization and put it into 2 categories. We maintain and operate our system, and that's our maintenance division, and then we deliver projects, and that would be our design and construction divisions, and then of course our administration area takes care of all the paperwork and personnel needs and issues like that for all of our employees as they exist in our district. But we take a lot of pride and satisfaction. One of the things that I'm most proud about is that when you look at all the engineering districts, even though we're like the 5th largest district in terms of roadway mileage and responsibility, you know, we have a population base of over 750,000 people here in the 4-county area. 60,000 of which the representatives said are just within his legislative district. There are 21 legislators that we deal with between the representatives and the state senators and the United States senators and the United States congressmen. So, you know, everybody that we try to do as much as we can to help any time we can. I mean, that's our motto. Our motto is we care and we're here to help. And so we take that very seriously. But one of the things that I'm most proud of is when you look at our 784 employees, it's actually the lowest by a complement that we have in the state. There are some districts that they're spread out, they have more area, but in terms of responsibility, they have a little bit less roadway mileage and bridges. But when it comes to, we have what we call a state employees combined appeal program, and every year our employees take out of payroll deductions or cash contributions, we support what we call our state employees combined appeal. Year in and year out, our district is this top state transportation agency that deals with that, or that donates to that. In fact, over the last decade at least, we've donated over $600,000 to charities of the choosing with regard to each of our employees in our region, all right? Because that doesn't get any better than that when people that work in your organization lend a helping hand to people that they don't know or they'll never know or meet because of their needs in the community. I think that's a really good qualifier of the organization and the kind of character that we have with our employees.
My name is Brian Schimmel. I'm with the Department of Environmental Protection in the Southwest region. So much like PennDOT, we cover several counties in the Southwest, including Fayette, Washington, Greene, 10 counties to be exact. And we are a compliance, permitting and enforcement agency. So if an activity affects the environment, whether it be air, water, land, we permit and enforce landfills, wastewater treatment plants, drinking water plants, oil and gas drilling, mining, radiation protection. If you ever go to the dentist and you'll see a little seal, radiation protection seal, that's DEP. We inspect those and make sure that those are up to date. We spray for West Nile virus and black fly, among other things. Oh, and dams. We regulate dams as well. So Yeah, we're here tonight. Oh, I wanted to mention who is here. Actually, Roger Adams, who is the former head of our Dam Safety Division for 33 years and now the acting director of our Bureau of Waterways, Engineering, and Wetlands.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Nerozzi. I'm the Director of Policy and Planning for the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission. I'm joined here today with a few of our staffs. We have Ben Lorson here, that's a fisheries biologist, and we have two of our WCOs, Captain Christ and WCO Ofer, who I actually just had the pleasure of meeting today. He's one of your local guys on the ground along with Captain Christ, so you may see them out while you're fishing, boating, what have you. Stop by and say hi. I'm sure they're nice guys, and they want to see you catch fish too. I think in terms of general overview of what we do, I think you guys all know kind of what our role is. We manage fishing, boating in Pennsylvania, and fish, reptiles, amphibians, aquatic insects, water quality, freshwater ecosystems, and as well as get involved with projects such as the Marianna Dam. I do want to say thank you to Representative Bud Cook. I have only known Bud here for a short amount of time, but I know in Harrisburg his reputation as being a fierce advocate for the Mon Valley, so I'm glad he could have us out here and participate. So in terms of the Marianna Dam and Lowhead Dam projects in general, the Fish and Boat Commission has been working on these projects for quite some time. We've worked with communities that have decided to remove dams from their community. During that time, I think we've removed about 300 dams, if I'm correct, according to Ben's numbers, in Pennsylvania. And there's really about 3,000 dams out there, permitted dams out there in Pennsylvania, along with probably thousands of unpermitted dams that we try to work with communities to manage. So we understand it's a tough decision, and obviously by all the folks out here tonight, the Marianna Dam has some value in the community from a historic standpoint, from an aesthetic standpoint, and perhaps even from an economic standpoint. So when communities make the decision to remove a dam, we're here to help. We're here to provide technical assistance and guidance during that process. But in the end, you know, it is a local decision. We do, in general, support the removal of dams, really for two reasons, those reasons being ecological and then also from a public safety standpoint. The public safety aspect, I think, is a little bit more timely. If any of you have been watching the news, we had a really tragic accident at a Lowhead Dam in Harrisburg a couple weeks ago where, unfortunately, a mother and her child lost their life after their boat capsized at the base of the dam. So I'm going to have Ben come up here and kind of give a general overview of some of the areas of concern that we have with Lowhead dams and some of the benefits if communities decide to go ahead and remove the dam, some of the benefits that has for the freshwater ecology as well as public safety.
Just to give a quick overview of why our agency is interested in fish passage projects across the state. As Mike mentioned, my name's Ben Lorson. I work in our Division of Habitat Management. My title is Fish Passage Coordinator. So my whole position is basically looking at fish passage on a statewide basis. If you think about a fish, you know, they live in linear systems. They can't get out of the water and walk around an obstruction that's in the water. Everything that they need to complete their life cycle is within that linear system. Sometimes they need to move upstream or downstream to get food, to seek spawning habitat, to escape temperatures that are too warm or adverse water quality conditions. So recognizing that, and it's not just, you know, your anadromous fish that are coming in from the ocean to spawn in freshwater, like your American shad or salmon. We also have fish that live within a freshwater system the whole time, their whole lives, that need to move within those systems to, to complete different parts of their life cycle. So recognizing that, we work with willing dam owners, dam owners that have already agreed to remove their dam to assist any way that we can to help facilitate that process. So just in a general standpoint, our agencies is interested in protecting, conserving, and enhancing our state's aquatic resources as well as providing fishing and boating opportunities. And by removing dams and allowing fish free movement up and downstream, we're working towards that mission. So a little bit to understand what kind of an impact a dam has on a flowing waterway, you need to kind of understand the natural function of a stream, which is to move material from the surrounding watershed and move it downstream. It's not just water, it's sediment, it's woody debris, it's nutrients, and really the way the water moves that, it helps to form the physical habitat, it helps to shape the water quality, it helps to cycle those nutrients to drive the base of the food chain up through the bugs and ultimately the fish, what ultimately live there. So that's the main reason, the ecological reason that we see fish passages being important. As Mike said, I can't say that our agency's been involved in 300 dam removals across the state, but on a statewide basis, there's been about 300 dams removed in the last 20, 25 years. But we get involved in a lot of them. And the other aspect that ends up coming to a dam owner's decision, you have the public safety and then the financial aspects. From a public safety standpoint, we see deaths every year. Mike just pointed out one at Lowhead dams. People out recreating on the rivers and streams across our state come across a dangerous situation, a lot of times not realizing it, and they can get caught in the hydraulic conditions below a dam, and basically, they get trapped and churned in that boil downstream of a dam. And it's not under all conditions every day, but under certain flow conditions, most Lowhead dams, you will see that dangerous hydraulic condition at some point in time. So, you have that public safety aspect, our interest in the ecological aspects, and from the dam owner standpoint, there's the financial aspects to look at. So really, that's how we get involved in, should dam owners decide to move forward with removal, we're here to help assist in that process.
I was a Deputy Waterways Conservation Officer for 21 years. I have a master's degree in aquatic biology and wildlife management. Developed a citizens water monitoring system. We have 121 sites with information that we'd be glad to share with the DEP. The DEP knows me. They may not like me, but they do know me. We do have a problem with our water quality. Our water quality is bad. I don't have to tell you that, you know it. I've been a resident of this area 71 years. The last time I was in this auditorium, I received a diploma in 1965. So this is my home, just the same as your home. I'm very interested in what's happening in Marianna. It's a community thing, and it's emotional. Whether the dam goes or stays, it's up to the community. But what is behind that dam is up to all of us. I worked for Mine Environment, who did the final reclamation on Horn Pond. I have an idea of what's in that water. I worked on Ellsworth 51. I worked on all these things. I've got a good background, and I did contact State Representative Snyder, who forwarded my letter about the Marianna Dam up the line to a gentleman by the name of Patrick McDonald. He's the chief. You guys from the DEP knows the chief. And I received back this. And what it is regarding the removal of the Marianna Dam. It says, as part of the dam removal, planning and permitting of the DEP will require analysis of all the sediment impounded by the dam. The volume and the nature of the sediment will be evaluated. Chemical testing of the settlements will also be required to determine if the contaminants are present. Based on the results of these investigations, a sediment management program will be developed and implemented during the dam's removal. So I want you all here to know that the DEP has every instance to do chemical testing behind the dam if the dam is removed, okay? I will stand here in front of you and say this. If that chemical testing does not take place and the dam is trying to be removed without chemical testing of that sediment, I will probably be in jail. They're not going to dump that sediment into North Branch of 10 Mile Creek, down into the lower end of 10 Mile Creek, into the drinking water systems anymore. This is enough is enough. We got enough stuff in our mine water now. We have an immense problem with bromides. And I'm really questioning the testing of the 903.1 series versus a gamma spec testing for radiation radium-226. That is a big question I've always had, and I have it till today. Does our water contain radioactive material? It does contain bromides, it does contain trihalomethanes, which happens to be chlorotrihalomethanes, and I'm not going to get into the chemistry of it. We have a water problem here. And if our mine pools have been contaminated, you are talking 1.3 trillion gallons of water that must be addressed. There's bromides to the right of me, bromides to the left of me, bromides in front of me, above me, behind me, and around me. I feel like one of Custer's soldiers at the Battle of Little Bighorn. Every place they looked, there was an Indian, and every place I looked, there's bromides. A lot of them. Gentlemen from the DEP, this stuff is coming from someplace. It's way above the natural. Check with WRI, check with Duquesne, check with Willing Jesuit. We've all been working together to find out the source of these bromides. The only thing that has changed over the last couple of years is drilling. Is bromide associated with Marcellus drilling? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's everywhere. How is that affecting our aquatic life? Just talking to the gentleman back there. He said, used to be a lot of fish in the creek, no more fish, can't find them. Scott, Tom, these guys work every day. And, you know, we always get on their case, but these guys deserve an attaboy. They're out there. They are out there trying to do the job and trying to protect a resource. I don't always agree with them. They don't always agree with me, but they do a good job. So there's problems, people, with the dam. What's behind that dam? What kind of chemicals are in there? That, according to this, the DEP says that this will be tested, and I am going to hold the DEP to that. I was just voted unanimously Vice President of the state for the Isaac Walton Lake of America. I'll be going to our national convention, and this problem will be brought out. So what the community decides on a dam is up to you. Ed, what you guys decide, Sandy, it's up to you. But you're not going to dump that silt down through the North Branch 10 Mile into our fishery, into our drinking water, into our boating resource. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. You understand? I will go to jail first. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time, and I want to thank Representative Cook, who's been working very closely with me on this project. And actually, he listens once in a while. So, you know, just a politician that listens. So I'm real pleased that Bud's on board with us. I'm real pleased that you guys from the Fishery Department and is here also in the DEP. And by the way, my brother was in your position for 12 years at PennDOT. You might know him, Mike. So we have a long-standing love relationship with this area.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Councilman Jeremy Berardinelli with Marianna Borough. I've had the honor to represent my borough for almost 9 years now. And this is a very hot topic issue, to say the least, in my community. There are some residents that are in favor of removal. There are many residents in favor of keeping the dam. But like the representative said, we need the facts. Facts have been lacking, to say the least, since day one. To me, this has not been open and transparent whatsoever. And that's what we're here. We're supposed to be open and transparent. That's what government's supposed to be all about. I mean, I've been requesting facts for months now, and I have not been able to ascertain them, unfortunately. And I mean, the people just want to know what's going on, what's safe, what's not safe. Like when I read that conservation easement, for example, I mean, that's why I inquired with the representative from American Rivers, because that would have been a horrible agreement for the borough. And from what I was told, I was not at our April council meeting, but from what I was told, our borough solicitor concurred. That's why they waited, and we had an open house, but we had several different dates to have the open house, but for some reason it was scheduled for the day of the largest event in our area. So to me, that's not open and transparent. Like, I made it for 15 minutes. I would have liked to have been there for the whole open house to see what the community thought, even though I've made it a point to speak to most of them. But, you know, we need to have openness and transparency. That's what these people want. And facts. We are lacking facts. There's minimal facts at best. Like, I keep hearing the dam's dangerous. I read the DEP's reports. Yes, it needs repaired. I mean, it's almost 10-year-old dam. But we had a great economic opportunity. We were working for 3 years to pipe water to the Marcellus shell industry. We had the opportunity to make up to $500 a day. That would have been great for our community. Imagine the community improvements we could have done. But now, being with the dam going to be removed, they're going to have to truck the water in. And I was told there's an estimate of 300 to 500 trucks coming through town a day. That is going to be a huge safety issue. I mean, to me, it would make a lot more sense to pipe the water to the sites than to truck it. The borough benefits, the community benefits from a safety aspect, and it's a win-win for everyone. I mean, if anybody's familiar with downtown Marianna, you see it's not too open. I mean, traffic is very tight. And could you imagine them big water trucks going through every day? That's going to be quite dangerous, in my opinion. I'm no safety expert, but it's common sense. You know, and I just think, you know, we need to get to the facts. Whatever way this may lead, the facts have to lead us, not, like the representative said, not emotions, not anything. We need facts. You know, that is something that is seriously lacking, and I hope we can ascertain more facts in the future and let them guide us where they may. And thank all you agencies for attending, and thank everybody for attending. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you.
I believe in the fourth branch of government. The fourth branch of government asks the questions, they follow the facts where they lead, and then they report. There has been a lot of misinformation through lack of sharing, misreporting, whatever, and that was the whole intent of tonight, to try to share with you as much information as we had to date. So you guys, if you can get American Rivers to be more transparent, I think that would go a long ways. We need everybody to be transparent in the whole operation. Frankly, I'm a little disappointed. Township, borough, commissioners were all invited to this meeting. Okay. I will share with you, the governor brought his cabinet here several months ago, and the one thing they brought out and really stuck in my head, boroughs, townships, cities, counties, elected representative and senators all need to work together. And the sooner we get that down, the sooner we'll be able to continue to put progress ahead of politics. I think it was worth it. Again, you guys came a long way, really appreciate it. Again, I want to thank you all for coming out, and thank you again for the opportunity to represent and serve you. Please be safe on the way home. Some of us have traveled a long ways. Just be careful on the way home. Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me the honor and the opportunity to represent you and your family here in Harrisburg and in our district. Please be sure to visit my website and sign up for our weekly e-newsletters. This will keep you updated about our efforts to improve the district and the region. You can also find us on Facebook. All our contact information will be shown shortly. Remember, it's always a great day in the 49th. God bless you and your family.